Nuclear power is the world's most environmentally efficient and readily available source of energy. Nuclear power is the most effective in terms of environmental aspects and easy of production. Nuclear power is better than any other power besides hydropower, geothermal and solar, except for wind power only. But radioactive elements are the most toxic and harmful substances on Earth. Earth has experienced two nuclear power plant accidents that released large amount of radiation. They are 1986 Chernobyl, Ukraine and 2011 Fukushima, Japan. 31 people died in the Chernobyl accident and about 4,000 people who were exposed to radiation died of cancer within a few days. 2 people died in Fukushima and 130 people died of cancer. Let us inform you that these two places are still highly radioactive and unfit for human habitation. About 1,000 million people lost their homes. Economically, Chernobyl damage is about $250 billion, more than Ukraine GDP. On the other hand, Japan's accident loses amount to $500 billion, which is 10% of their original GDP. At present, with the amount of uranium that is being used every day, there is enough uranium left on Earth for the next 230 years. Many believe that nuclear power is the only simple and fastest solution to produce energy with low carbon dioxide emissions. In the case of nuclear power, insufficient uranium and accident in the nuclear power plants are not major problems. One of the biggest problems with nuclear power is nuclear waste. Nuclear fission is the power generation process of all nuclear power plants in the world. After 3 to 5 years, the units used in nuclear power plants cannot produce enough thermal energy to generate electricity, so they are removed from the power plant. Then we call them nuclear waste. After the uranium is removed from nuclear power plants, they may not produce much thermal energy, but it will emit very harmful radioactive rays. Now the question is, how long will they emit radioactive rays? Now the more important question is, what do we do with this nuclear waste that emits radioactive rays? As simple as the answer is, the task is just as difficult, like leaving them in such a place for the rest of their lives, where they will be separate and undisturbed. But it's not that simple. Currently there is no permanent system for long-term safe storage of nuclear waste in the world. All nuclear waste generated on Earth is temporarily stored. Most nuclear waste is stored primarily in water tanks. Water acts as a shield against the radiation emitted from nuclear waste. As a result, the cheapest and simplest method of storing nuclear waste is water tanks. Water tanks are mainly stored inside nuclear power plants. As a result, the uranium bundles are taken out of the reactor and placed directly in these water tanks. Then, because the uranium bundles are constantly hot, the water in the tank starts to heat up. As a result, the water temperature is kept below to boiling point at all times through the cooling system. This cooling system requires electricity. If for any reason there is a power failure, the cooling system will stop and the water in the tank will evaporate. And you must have understood by now what will happen to the environment if this water evaporates. When water evaporates, radioactive rays will be released into the environment, which is exactly what happened in Fukushima, Japan. Nuclear waste is cooled in water for 10 to 12 years, after which the waste is encased in a thick layer of concrete and placed in steel containers, so that the radioactive rays cannot get out. But this is not a permanent solution. As they can be damaged by earthquakes or tsunamis, they require constant safety and maintenance. If they are not managed regularly by humans, they can easily degrade over time and release radiation into the environment. So a permanent system is needed for long-term storage of nuclear waste. Finland started this work. Finland is a country that has never experienced an earthquake or tsunami. Finland can be called the most protected place in terms of natural disasters. A permanent storage site for the world's first nuclear reactor is being built on the coast of the Baltic Sea in Finland. This storage is located at a depth of 1500 feet from the ground. They have finished excavating the soil and started storing nuclear waste in 2020. They are very long tunnels dug and numerous holes. These pits are filled with nuclear waste and filled with soil. In this method, the risk of leakage of nuclear waste into groundwater is almost zero. This tunnel will be filled with nuclear waste by 2120. It will then be set aside as an unprotected space for millions of years. As the waste are very deep in the soil, it is very difficult to reach them, so they don't need any maintenance. But one thing we have to think about human nature. If one finds an object from thousands of years ago, it is natural to be interested in opening it out of curiosity. But this would be dangerous in the case of nuclear waste. We have already had such incidents. Think of the Pyramid of Egypt. We opened the Egyptian mummies because we were curious. Again, suppose that the Roman civilization was the most powerful in the world. That Roman civilization has been destroyed. Also, many other civilizations have perished, so it cannot be asserted that our current human civilization will last forever. Maybe our civilization will be destroyed someday. As a result, it would be extremely dangerous if people from a civilization thousands of years later had access to nuclear waste and tried to open it out of curiosity. Considering this danger, in the distant future, some messages will be left there, where it will be said how unnecessary and dangerous these nuclear waste are. The message is pretty much like, this is not a respectable place and there is nothing of value here. This message is a warning that what's here is very dangerous. It is still as it was in our society. It is injurious to the body which will cause death and should be left undisturbed as it is. This message will be translated into 6 languages: Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian, and Spanish. There is reason to hope that these 6 languages will survive or be intelligible for at least another 2 or 3,000 years. But after 10,000 years, the languages are unlikely to be intelligible. So the same message will be presented through images without the use of language, which would indicate that what is here is not good. There will also be diagrams showing how nuclear waste is produced and how it behaves and where it is stored. Also, these images will be kept where it will be said how nuclear waste affects people. However, many experts feel that there is no need to identify this place separately, because the pictorial message placed in this place may make the people of the future more curious, which will increase the danger of the distant future instead of reducing it. Friends, you can comment on your opinion on this matter. Also, if you like this video, you can subscribe to the channel.